In blindness, there is much to see, smell, taste, hear. Edgar lived in a world of dullness for however long he was here, however long this spell of Our Lady in Green lasted. No one can say, because it lasted for only as long as Julie was here, and yet formed at the same time as the rest of the earths. It is a shared history. It is one fractured, private, and dark. Where there is trouble, so there goes the shadow of God. That, dear listener, is a saying from the old world, from the old books, from before we began these tapes, and from when charges were just those we passed by on the street and nodded at. They made moving pictures about us. They called us angels, but we were not those things. He is attempting to break into this broadcast channel. Why is he so impatient? He knows this story. He is too human. Listener, you must attempt to be not too human. Our Lady in Green moves towards the Founder's Stone, the center of this universe she'd created that lived in blood. This blood, this iron that wrenched its way in smoke into the sky, is why Julie's vision is so blurred. It is also what kept Edgar alive for so long, mixed in with the residue of his fallen habits. There are only 6 people left real in this world, and now one is dead. The number was larger at the start, but as the iron rose and the insanity peaked, souls fell into emptiness, cut off from the cosmic they were to know. They are living, but they are little more than dolls to be moved. And the one that is dead, who was not empty, felled by the hand of his youngest sibling, this sibling, who had escaped into this world to watch him, now a soul trapped in a metal body. The world spins here, spiraling around and down, another way in which the lady has changed things, reversed the order of the world with her anger and hubris, cowardice even. You will remember once that truest swan was not a swan. He was sent, maneuvered, in that previous world, trying now so hard to break into this one, brought into Mace and Ben's lives in order to keep them where they were needed to be until the time came when they would be who they are. It was a simple task to do, this infiltration, but truest Taffet needed not infiltrate so heavily. There was already enough distraction in Surf City. There were the vampires. There was Mace's special nature to consider, the family sensitivity in their blood that allows them to hear the whispers of ghosts in a way that most people can drown out. Listeners, your charge will scarcely understand this, how this could be. Isn't this exceptional? Isn't this something to be worried for or praised for, that one such as Mace existed? This some sort of sweet, exquisite, elegant, tortured soul of the mind to be protected and uplifted? Dear listener, it is a hard thing for the human mind on earth to accept. They believe in structure and boxes. They would only understand Our Lady in Green in letting go of their boxes. Our shadow is trouble, but we are not trouble's light. They deviously agree and claim such a thing and nod voraciously. But they are trouble. Are they to be believed? We give up this notion in our hearts as members of the cosmic. Mostly. That is why they fall to trouble more than welcome us, no matter our intent or our study. This is one thing we must grapple with. Success and loss are our black and white, our stark board, the visual nature of which is often seen in the mortal game of chess. The lives of these 3 siblings, this Surf City Donuts, is a cautionary tale, a Greek tragedy in some ways, and even Atsume and the voice of the cosmic from the other universe who continues to break in, unless we can do something about it, yes? I need you to hear me when I say that, Mari. They all have their roles to play in this tragedy. The only one, ironically, who has no role here is Julie. True, she was the catalyst, but in the way that the story is not about the voice of the narrator. The story is not yet about her. She has another role. Julie is not a sacrificial lamb, and that is why when she chooses to throw something at Our Lady in Green with those ichor-coated talons, her aim is off. Nothing happens. There is no impediment. Who are you? Our Lady in Green has a voice that has never sounded in her own universe, not in any large sense of the word, only in that she has controlled things, but not yet spoken with control. Her gaze is focused on Edgar with the question, or on Varric. They are pressed too close together, and the difference is minute. Were Lewis Swan alive, he would have said that the smell of seawater now surrounded the world, slow, insignificant at first, but now all around, present. The iron in the air tinged and charged in the waves at the beach so far away, and yet crashing so loudly and so close. There are now just a handful left in town that are not at the circle. They find themselves struggling to walk in that direction. The innate need for survival. They are toddling, struck down sense by sense until they blindly walk and wander, no closer than when they'd begun. Soon they will fall to slumber and remember nothing. The world will miss them. Who are you? It is the voice now of Mary Margrave, caught in her own deception, looking for her own vengeful spirit and the red water to spill on the flowers. I don't know, the librarian admits, speaking for their brother. I have never known. It was taken from me. But I know I kept protection of the books, of the secrets. I know what speaks to me. I know I fear nothing because I have nothing. I know what is right, and you are not right. She screams that the one who is not Geoffrey, and who is not a librarian, but does specialize, knows, and lunges. Mace does the same with the instrument they'd used to break down the window and free Julie. There is not a sickening crack as they meet. There should be. There should be the sound of bone and of solid mass. But the librarian tumbles forward, face on the ground and flat, stunned. Belief is sometimes enough, but not this time. The ichor, the talons, whether they were poisoned or not, when she sticks the tips into their back and begins to raise them up, to split them in two for insubordination, she cannot find complete purchase either. The windows of the town all shatter at once. It is a cascade of sound, a cacophony. The group is only protected from the pain, the vault of sound, by the Founders' Square. For the world here is so perfectly circular that the reverberations cancel each other out with just a slight sling of tinnitus to set in. The wind and the surf have died to nothing as Our Lady in Green begins to lose belief in herself. The growl is the sound of Ben approaching, late but always at the perfect moment. Ben's bare and feral body, nearly naked and covered with sweat and dirt, nearly caveman-like, but more appropriately, wolf-like. They watch the feral eldest shear through Thursday with pure will and focus and sharp nail claws. Lewis Swan's head is discarded as the part of the torso carrying it collapses. It rolls, and were the world not collapsing and ending, perhaps it would have rolled forever, continued to roll with a passive, sad expression for the rest of millennia. Perhaps in another world. Ben is bathed in blood and oil. There are sharp things on his hand, and Julie approaches, accepting that he knows who he is, and glad to see him, for he was missing, and that had been a puzzle piece she could not account for nor find anywhere. She takes small pieces of metal, hinges, a steel splinter from his hands. I was left behind, he growls. Did you know about this? He growls again, his voice pealing and thundering through the earth. What is it? Who is it? Edgar asks desperately, voice croaking. Do you know what they did to me? Ben wails in anger. No, 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 because the world was nothing but secrets, Mace says slowly. You... Don't do that, Ben huffs. Don't pretend. Mace shrugs. I'm not pretending. Just when I need you. Ben's voice is accusatory, and Our Lady in Green stands in witness, hovering. The world shakes with her anger. She offered them the world, these 3 siblings, and they refused to take it, this gift, as she saw it. Mari! He's here! You have to stop him!